Okay, we have Mr. Frank on the line.
Yes, good evening.
Yes. Oh, you're coming through very nicely tonight.
Yes, I'm running 100 watts.
Now, what were you running last night?
About 20.
Okay, well, you can probably turn it down a bit if you have
Yeah, I will.
And we'll see what happens. I think he's turned it down. It dropped out of my squelch because I'm on the other set. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. I was trying to reach you on 437.8.
Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't have it on. Do you want to try that again?
Yeah, but it'll take me a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I've got a different antenna terminal. It's got an in connector on it. The other one's just got a PL259, SO259.
Well, look, if that's okay, I mean, you're quite okay at the moment, but I suppose it's worth experimenting.
No, I'd like to try it.
Okay, well, I'll stand on by.
All right, stand on by. I'll be, if it's no-go, I'll come back on to...
What you're on, yeah, fine.
Okay.
Good.
Here we go.
And I think we've got somebody on Talky. And I have to wind it up there, so go ahead to our Talky station. Oh, I think it's... I'll go and make it. Is that Mr. Steve?
Yes, it is. But Talky's a little bit flaky for me.
Is it?
Tonight.
It's sounding okay here.
Yeah, it's just breaking up. You're breaking up quite a bit.
It could be the level going down up the line.
I'll look at the caller level here on the desk, but it's very flaky actually.
Okay, so
let's see if it settles down.
Can you hear me there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, you're hearing me all right?
You're coming through perfectly.
Looks like we've lost the line.
Hello, you're coming through perfectly. Hello. Hello. You're coming through perfectly
right,
here.
I'll reconnect and see what happens.
No, don't reconnect. Don't. You're coming through perfectly.
It's coming through, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're perfect.
Yeah, you're breaking up a lot.
It could be your send level.
Okay.
Because it ducks too much.
Okay. Oh, yes, the ducting. Yes, that's a good point.
Yes.
I wonder what that's... I'll turn it right back now.
Okay.
But is it better?
Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Let's see, I'm just thinking. All right, we'll just see how things go.
Okay. So you're getting problems in hearing me?
Yeah, I'm not hearing... Well, I'm hearing you, but it's very, very broken.
Right. Well, I tested it with the phone. It sounded okay. I did a double test before, so I don't know.
Yeah. This is not typical because we've had really good success with it in the past. So
now I think 1, 2, 3. I think you're coming back to yourself. That might be a problem. Now you're coming down that line. So if I turn now, is that any better there?
Not really, I'm afraid.
Well, it's funny because it's perfect quality coming back. Coming from you.
You're hearing me all right, but...
Well, yeah, dial in again, see what happens. Could be just a bad line.
Yeah, maybe I can try the other channel. I'll just wait a minute, I'll see if it's there. It's been with me.
So...
like 1, 2, 3, 4... Oh, it's monitor on this channel. Is that better? I wonder. Let's have a listen. Can you hear me now?
I can. Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, okay.
Hello?
Oh, yes, it's Frank.
Hello? Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Very good.
Now, you're not quite as good...
Well, I'm running 50 watts.
Okay, that's sounding okay on 50. Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Okay, yeah, but you're sounding fine there.
I'll be interested to see if you can copy, Steve.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not succeeding tonight. I'll have to start again and see if it works. Okay, so...
Right, yeah.
We'll try it some other time, Steve. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's having trouble with Talky.
Yes, I know.
It's nothing to do with your RF.
Just start in again and see if it's a bit better.
I'll just set this recording up. And, yeah...
well, I can go back. Probably better if I go back to...
No, look, I'd stay on that.
Well, this is the only UHF frequency there is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd stay on that. It's fine.
All right.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Very good.
Might as well test it out.
Yes, no, that's good. Well, I haven't tried this equipment on UHF before, so
right.
I'm pleased to see that it works.
Yeah.
It's a bit crackly, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Well, it's better I go back on.
Okay, well, go back to 145.
I'm wondering why it's crackling.
Oh, who knows?
Well, I wonder if is it signal...
It's probably my thing. It's through the duplex. It's so complex. I've got this.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is squelched.
Yeah.
It's all right. I just was seeing how far I could go.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go back to 145.
Okay, we'll stand on by. Sorry about that. And I'll put that on there, and I'll leave that on there. And now that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I come up on that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's the other one, whichever else comes up on, which is auxiliary 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2. Ties on there, 2, yes. 3. Have to put a bit of thing up there as well. So it might all work, I don't know. Anyway, I'll turn that one down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. So we're all doing tests. And Frank's at the back of his sets there, messing around with end connectors and everything. It sounds all very complex. So I think Mr. Newbeck's having a busy drain party, so we may not hear from him tonight. But then maybe we will later on. You never know. Turn that on, hit the record button there. Okay, someone's come up.
I've just restarted the computer.
Okay.
Hello. Doesn't exist.
Yes, hello there.
Yes, I'm back.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wind down again.
Oh, yeah, that sounds better probably. Yeah.
Hello. There we go.
Yep. Sounds very good.
10, 15 watts.
Okay.
So you're on UHF,
muffin
are you?
fans, Dave, from my transceiver, so I can...
Say again?
I'm going to get some muffin fans.
Oh, good. Yes.
So
Good idea.
That's the way to go.
Yeah. Now, it could be crackles from the wind on the... I don't know what it is. Anyway, you can talk to Steve, and I'll sort things out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a shame, really. But
Yeah.
I'll just fiddle with it a bit more.
Can you come up on radio, Steve?
I probably can, yeah.
Now, if I'll give you... let's see. If I give you more level down my line, is that better? Is it...
Yes, it's okay, but it's breaking up a lot.
Like breaking up distortion or just...
No, it's not distortion, it's just breaking up. But then again, it's intermittent. It's okay now.
Yeah.
It's just it's flaky. It's just that digital sort of breakup sound.
Well, it's interesting
Anyhow, look,
because you're completely fine. It's interesting how it's not two-way.
Yes, I have a feeling it might be the sound card.
Oh.
It might be doing something a bit strange.
But it worked okay last time as you've used it.
It did. Yeah, look, at the last time I used it was for this, and it was fine. So I just restarted the computer because sometimes it doesn't interface properly.
Right.
But not to worry. We'll just see how it goes, and if it gets problematic. I have, in this new 2-metre rig, I've got 145.275 programmed in, but not 145.300. That's got an offset, and I haven't looked at the manual how to change the offset. So if I do need to come up, I'll have to come up on 145.275. But look, we'll leave it at this for the moment.
Yeah. No, it sounds very good.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
but it's just managing a system at both ends. But now, did I hear that Frank is coming up on UHF? Is that right?
Well, he did. It's a bit crackly. I think it's faults here with all the diplexes and stuff. It's terribly problematic. I
think, Steve.
You go on ahead, Frank.
So I was running 50 watts, but it's a pretty ropey arrangement because I'm running it into a disco, and I'm not exactly sure how much power it's absorbing, how much what my standing wave ratio is.
Sure.
Yeah. No, you're sounding very good there, Frank.
Oh, that's good.
Just talk a bit. I'll just set your level on this.
Yes. Hello. 1, 2, 4, 7.
I don't think I'm going to be able to hang on here for much longer unless this improves.
Right. Okay.
It's just it's
That's a shame.
a shame. I just don't know what it is.
Well, look, maybe I could reset it and see what it could be.
Well, if you want to try that, but
Yeah.
it's a strange situation because I'm coming back. I can hear myself fine. It's the hybrid and the cooler levels all seems to be managing.
So,
You just sort of.
You don't have a radio receiver that you could...
well,
Well,
there's a delay.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting you're hearing yourself back on Talky, are you? You shouldn't
No.
be.
No, not at all. I'm hearing myself back through the system here.
Yeah.
But and the AGC is kicking in, and I'm fiddling with knobs, and it's not making any appreciable difference. It seems to be.
Okay.
I think it's a sound card problem, or I'll have a look at I've got the sound card. It's a separate sound card I use for this,
Right.
so I can just check it out.
You could just use your phone.
Yeah, I could actually. I could probably do that. That's another thought. Let's check and make sure that it's not doing anything. I haven't really. All right. Well, we'll just keep going for the moment,
Okay.
and I could probably try and come back on the phone. Oh, the phone's charging. Never mind. Yeah. All right. Well, it's just one of those things. I'm sure it'll be right in the long run.
Yeah. Well,
Persevere as long as I can. I'm sort of hearing you, but it's just breaking up all the time. Be interesting. Now, the defining point will be if somebody else comes up, and if they're having the same problem, we'll know what's going on, I suppose.
yeah. Well, I'll just connect to it on the phone and see what it does. And
You want to restart from your end?
no, I'll just dial my phone and dial myself into Talky.
Oh, okay. Sure.
and,
yeah, right. I might as well give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
XBANDS.
Yeah.
Go start chat-o-matic. Join
You're
call
about
o-matic.
50% of you.
Joining room. Now, you talk and I'll see what you sound like.
Okay, well, we'll keep talking and see what's happening, and we'll establish the situation as it stands. Frank, I will do some UHF tests here at some stage.
Yes, that'd be good, Steve, but I'm pretty sure it's going to work, satisfactorily.
Yeah, Sam, I can't really hear you. Yeah, it's a bit flaky. Not to worry. Yeah, but well, at some point, when you get your fans and things, I noticed that the 24 volt fans running at 12 volts is
Right.
makes them a lot quieter. That's
Now just testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. At the moment, I'm listening off the phone on Talky,
yeah.
and apart from the delay, it's 100% clean.
Well, there we go. It must be some other problem then here. It's a
Yeah.
pity.
Look. I'll just take that delay off. I'll drop off Talky and reset mine, and just see it might get a different line or something. How do you turn this thing off? Press that. Press that. Press that. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll close it and start another Talky program
Yeah, it's a bit of a nuisance.
and see what happens. So
I suppose it's good to know
what
what
do I
how to resolve these things when they do occur.
on there, close that. Okay. So I've closed Talk-O-Matic on that, and I'll open it up again in Firefox. No, and Talky, and I'll do this. XBANDS. Go. Start a chat. Join Call-O-Matic. Okay, well I've started a new Talky, so this may be better, I don't know. Okay, here's Mr. Knowles on.
I'm back on.
And I wonder if that's any better.
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay.
It's interesting because I can test it from this end.
Yeah.
I just did that little diagnostic thing, and it seems to be fine here. But I have a feeling that diagnostics doesn't extend to receive.
Well, you have to come on.
I'll have to come
2
up
meters.
on radio, I'm afraid.
Okay.
If you what is it, 145.275?
Okay.
Do that. Sorry about the situation, but it might be just Mr. Cunningham, Mr. Gremlin in the system.
Yeah. Okay. Just.
All right, so I'll drop Carl off.
Okay. I'll leave it running for anyone else who wants to use it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll have to go out and in the cold and redial that frequency in.
Well, I don't mind if you don't want to do it.
Yeah. Look, I'll just hang on. What I'll do now? I'll just have to fill in for a bit for something. Stand by. Okay.
Here now, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I'm hearing you okay on that.
Yes, sorry about that. That was all a bit unfortunate.
Yes.
Like the old days, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling it's these outboard Behringer DAC units. They can be intermittent, and I've had issues in the past with them. But it's surprising in the face that I haven't really done anything else since, but never mind.
Now, Frank's on the other set, so if you want to come up on 145, Frank, we should be okay.
Yeah, well, do you want me to... There's no point in it doesn't help if I go to Steve's frequency, does it?
No, it's working fine now. You're both coming through fine.
Yeah, good.
So what are you on, Frank?
145.3.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's all right.
No, 145.
Beg pardon, 145. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, the 70 centimetres seemed to work okay, Steve.
Okay, good.
It was a bit crackly, but it could have been at Dave's end.
There's this sort of weather and a bit of wind. There's this bad. What I have to say, we haven't used this for a while. I have to go through, tighten up all the connectors, earth things. It's just because we haven't been using it UHF for a long time. It's there's just I've got 100 watts going up the coax one direction, all the UHF and VHF coming down the same coax in the same direction. It's just
Right.
you only need one little thing just crackling a bit, and it does that.
Yeah, that's good to be able to do it at all, really.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so what have you been up to, Frank, since last night, since going to bed late last night?
Yeah, well, I had a little minor sleep in and scored breakfast in bed, which was very nice.
Yeah.
And I had to tell her exactly all that was played so that we could, be treated accordingly, but it worked out all right.
Oh, good.
Very good. And today, not a lot really, just a bit of tidying up, catching up on email and sort of rubbish like that.
Right.
Now, I was listening to your Crossband tonight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that I totally thought it was the most interesting of Crossbands, but what happened to him, do you know?
I don't know, and it's good. We don't know what's happened to him. No, he may be still listening, I'm not sure.
I remember
Not
one
sure.
night, there was one where Chris was explaining to him how a crystal set worked.
Yes. Yeah, well, he seems to be, as I said, Mr. B Brain, we used to call him. Hope he's not listening.
I don't know how he got his ticket.
Well, maybe he ticked the right boxes.
Yeah, it's box ticking, but
Yeah.
you'd have to be... maybe he did, yeah.
That's Mr. PB you're talking about.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yes, I didn't get to hear it, but look, he got didn't he get a maths degree from Yale University or something?
Oh, I don't know. Wasn't he studying French or whatever too?
He had some allusion to French. I think he speaks French.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
He did poem, which
But there was a good Crossband where he talks about the roses in his garden and everything. And
I don't know. He's an unusual gentleman, but he certainly didn't appear to have a basic grasp of radio.
Well, you don't need it nowadays.
Well, surely you'd have to know how a crystal set works.
Yeah, well, I don't know. How does a crystal set work?
Don't ask me, I don't know.
See, this is a problem.
I remember we had a discussion about how a superhead worked.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it was one of my questions, and I was having an oral exam, so I couldn't fudge it.
Yeah.
He wanted to know how you went about building a a superheterodyne, a single conversion superheterodyne receiver with one RF stage.
So you had to explain the whole thing.
Yeah, and very thoroughly. He wanted to know everything about
Gosh,
the filtering and everything. Hello?
Yeah, that's amazing. So when you... It's just...
I'm getting crackly.
Yeah, there's a bit of noise. When did you get your ticket?
I got it in 1978. It was the year I went to live in Canberra for a year, and I did the exam in 77, and I went to Canberra in 78, and the licence came through in 78, and I went and bought a handheld. And the first contact I had, this will be of some interest to you, Dave, was with Mr. Graham, TK.
All right.
Whose house burned down, I think.
That's right. The dim sims got too hot.
That's right. And well, he was my absolute first contact. And at that stage, for some reason, he was up in Canberra, and I worked him on 2 metres on my Ken. I think I had a Ken.
Is that right? Oh, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is he still around?
No,
Ah,
he's an ex-ham.
okay, fair enough. So the dim sims put an end to it all, did they? Or was it a little bit more sinister than
Something
that?
else, I think. Dave, do you know, Dave?
You'll have to just talk amongst yourselves. I'll try and sort out this problem.
All right.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure what led to his demise, Steve.
Yeah, fair
But,
enough.
I think it was later, but there was a big fire. I don't think that did for him.
Oh, you mean his demise?
Yes.
No, it's very tragic. You haven't heard that Crossband with the branch?
No.
He died in a car crash in Mildura, the branch was listening to the wireless 3MA or something, or no, the Quartz was listening, and he heard on the local news that he'd been killed in a car accident.
Oh my God!
And he was only young, and he was, he was a new job, and he was
Yeah.
it was a very sad thing.
Great. Yeah, that was terrible. I knew that I knew he'd met his death suddenly, but I didn't know the cause. That's terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't even driving. There was a passenger in the car, and some terrible accident, and unfortunately he didn't survive.
Did you know him?
Oh yeah, I knew him quite well. I was at RMIT when I was at RMIT,
Oh, okay.
and he's. I'll play a thing of him shortly if it's time. We've got time, but
Yeah,
no.
no, I'd love to hear it.
I used to go around. Well, obviously, I went around his place to see the dim sims,
Of course.
and I think he came around my place a few times. And I always thought he was a very suave and very talented person.
He was. He radiated talent, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had TV way back in those days, at Admiralty TV, and he was into all this high, UHF stuff, which was pretty weird then. And unfortunately, he, I think he was 25 or something when it happened, so it was really sad. Anyway, I'll sort out this problem, but just talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that is sad. I remember hearing the story now, but I didn't make the connection with the
No,
person.
well, I don't think I'd heard. I'm sure I hadn't heard about the road accident, or I would have remembered.
Yeah,
But I had a sense that he died. Certainly that he died young.
right.
No, I knew that I knew the branch knew him because I'd heard him. He was the topic of conversation, from time to time.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
well, he was my first contact, Steve.
Okay, fair enough. And that was in Canberra, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
I went. There was one ham shop, and I went.
And how did it progress for you, Frank? Did you start off just on on VHF and then sort of move to HF after that? Or?
Yeah, what I did was I didn't really have any facility. I didn't have a capability of putting up antennas while I was there. We were staying in a rented house, and I was going to be there for a year.
Sure.
And so I went and bought a one of the meetings eventually. Let me do sideband as well. They were made by ICOM, and they were called handbag radios, and they did sideband. One did sideband, and another one did FM.
Okay.
And I got one for 6 meters.
Oh, right.
I did 6 meters handheld.
Oh, right. Very good. Okay.
There wasn't a lot on, but and I got to meet some of the ham community up there.
Was there a club there in Canberra?
Yeah, there was What's happening?
That's okay. It's just setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a club in Canberra, was there? Or?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't really get involved in that, but they had a broadcast every Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was good. It was okay. It was certainly a thrill to be on the air legally,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good. And you were in Canberra for a year, and then you came back.
That was just to do with my work.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it's
very, very good to get back to normal.
Yeah, I can imagine.
We had a good year. It was okay though. But it was okay because it was going to last.
Yeah. We'll just have to wait till things equalise a little bit. But
hello.
Yeah, it's okay. It'll straighten up. Yeah. So.
end, or I seem to be going intermittent here. I might just listen until things get established, because I'm not...
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just getting the two lines on the working in sync. Yeah.
Yes, I was crackly on 77, but I think it was just weak.
Yeah, we might give it.
You're going in and out again, I'm not sure. Could we just stop until Dave...
Okay. It helps just to sort of, for reference, I can find something.
Yes, some audio. One, two, three, four, five. Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Okay, I think we're back.
Yes, we're back.
Now, you've got very low audio level on your signal there, Frank.
Hold on. Hello. Is that any better?
I think a little bit better, yeah.
I'm running flat out mic gain.
Right.
There may be some problem here, Dave. I wouldn't discount that.
Yeah, it could be.
Because it seems to be intermittent. It's not overly hot. So I don't think it's an overheating problem.
One, two, three, four, five. That's local on that.
I've just had multiple fans come on. I might be...
Yeah, there seems a lot of noise on your signal there, Steve.
Is there? Okay, well, I'll change microphones. Bear with me. I'll try this. Hello, is that better? The fans come on. I'm on a different frequency. I'm putting out the same power as I did last night. I haven't really changed anything.
Yeah, look, maybe the wind's damaged my antennas or something. It's just I'm not getting. It's not working tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if you want to just draw a line and just wait and see if someone else comes up on Talky, but and see what happens.
No, look, I think I just put a replay on. It's just everything just crackling and hissing. It's just
fair enough.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, look, you don't want to bother with it. That's fine. Well, look, I wish you well for your...
Yeah, okay. I'll send you some information there later.
Okay.
And sorry about that, Frank. But just nothing's working.
But maybe replay.
See,
Yeah.
Now, just come up, Frank.
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you're about 1% modulation.
Well, that is weird. That must be at my end then.
Because if I talk, see.
I'm now running flat out everything.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's flat out audio, is it?
Yes.
That's 100% better.
Yeah. Well, let me just back the audio off and see if there's some sort of effect. Hello. Now, yes. That's running at about. That's running audio at about a third of full gain.
Well, that before you're about 2% modulation, I could hardly hear you.
Yes.
That's why you just sort of faded out.
Is that it? Well, how is it now?
It sounds fine now.
Well, maybe there was, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
Who knows? Gremlins are in the works.
So you're fine, just Steve's got the problem now.
Now I've got the issue. I can easily notch up. Hello. Oh.
Now, Steve's on the hi-fi set, and it's very...
Yes, there we go. I can put a bit more oomph into it. Hello, test 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, test 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Now, that sounds like I'm coming through all right. But
Now, that sounds a lot better.
yeah, I can change the gain on this. I've got plenty of headroom, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I can hear your fan, Steve.
Yeah.
Hello, test 1.
It's not objectionable, was it?
No, I've bypassed all the EQ now. Is that better or worse?
Oh, that's much better. What I'll do, I'll put Frank on the fire receiver and you on the narrow one. It might be better. So just stand by.
Maybe it will.
Yeah, stand by.
Yep. We'll just stand on by. Hello. I'll just bypass the EQ, and I don't think it makes much difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'll put the EQ in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it does make a difference. Not a lot. There we go. Hey, here we are, back on board.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, you're sounding great, Frank.
Yeah, you're sounding very good too. Very good.
That seems to be working okay. But it's been very windy.
Yes. I mean, I could even have problems here.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? We're sort of all chasing our tails.
Yeah, that's right.
Situation.
That is it.
Yeah, it's a pity that all systems have not running optimally. We've had sort of every sort of approach has been thwarted a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's the way it goes.
Anyway, we can stop at any time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But well, during the week, maybe just we could have a little test on UHF if you like.
That'd be excellent.
If it suits you.
Yes, certainly.
Any night at all, we can.
The only night I can't do it, I'm actually going out. I'm going to a lecture at Monash at 6:30, an astronomy lecture.
Okay.
It's on gravitational waves, I think.
Oh, good.
But I should be back from that about 9. That should be all right.
Sure.
Or 8:30.
Yes, I wouldn't be able to test before about 9 o'clock anyhow.
No, well, that's right. Friday's probably not the best night for you anyway, so...
No, but look, that's okay.
Any other night, I can do it easily.
Yeah, we can just try it out with UHF and be interesting to see how it goes. That means theoretically I can leave 2 metres on then.
It does. I wouldn't think there's going to be a problem, really.
Yeah, we can give it a go. But it sounds like you had some success before, and I think the path between your place and here is not very long.
No.
So, it'd be interesting to try that out. I am a little bit hemmed in. One of the issues I've had to contend with is my location's on there's a hill. I'm the Mount Waverley Hill.
Oh yes.
But I'm slightly on the east side of the hill.
All right.
And so
you've got to get over a little bit the peak of the hill to...
It's like I was getting you okay on the big antenna, but I've never got you perfectly on the receive antenna.
Right.
So it's just it's always just on that verge.
Yes, it's a pity because I'm running 50 watts at the moment. And it's just the way of things, unfortunately.
I went outside. It's got that windy, cold, raining, squally feel, and I think just this connection to wind antennas blowing around is just as bad.
When there's movement, I suppose.
Yeah. But this is sort of working to some extent.
Well, it seems to be okay.
Yeah. You're just not... now, is it feedback? Is it from this end here?
It's at me. I've got my Sennheiser cans, which can be a bit like that, but I don't think the levels aren't that high.
Maybe, anyway, it seems to be working.
Yeah.
I guess with your hole in the wall, if you just bricked it up, then you can just forget about it, and it would just stay there until the house is knocked down.
Oh, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that stuff will just stay there forever. It keeps the house up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the arrangement. Yes, out of sight, out of mind, I think, is the idea, and it adds a bit of foundation support. So, one day they'll be digging and they'll find all of these Codan sets and ABC loudspeakers and things.
And RME mixers.
That's right. They'll be all sitting under there and fossilised. And the archaeologists will. This has been my godsend, Frank. Is to have a hole in the wall.
Yes.
And where I sort of effectively keep all of it's the service department.
Right.
All the bits that I use to keep things in operation here.
Yep.
A lot of other cast junk that's been bestowed on me, so maybe I can find some unsuspecting young person someday and just handle the whole lot.
Just give it all to a museum.
Well, it'd be good, but I don't think museums are interested.
No, they're probably not.
I don't think they are. I don't think anyone's interested, really.
No, they're not.
And no one's interested in gramophone records. And really, the things here all end up in the skip, probably.
They will. It's raining like the Dickens now. You can probably hear.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can.
It's pretty bad.
Oh, listen to that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's full on.
It's terrible.
It hasn't quite hit here yet.
Yeah.
Nor here.
No.
Wow.
Just turn the headphones up louder.
Yeah, that's full on.
We might have a floodmatic.
You might.
And we've got 5 people listening on the stream, so people didn't take too long to get back to the stream when it's back.
Back to the
It's really just pouring.
Evening to our listeners.
Yeah, so the NBN's all resolved.
Well, it is. And would you believe I got a little note from Aussie Narrowband?
Yeah.
And they said that they're going to compensate me.
Oh,
and
$1,000?
They've given me $12.70.
Oh, wow.
They must have calculated how many hours I was offline and just gave me the exact.
Oh, well.
I was expecting like a month free.
You would have, at least they could have done with to give you a free month.
Yeah, for all the inconvenience you've had.
Hours on the phone calls, all this sort of stuff.
$12, what a waste of time.
It's almost useless. It's almost an insult.
It is really. It is an insult.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't even pay the wages of someone to write out the thing.
Exactly.
That's right.
Oh, that's just ridiculous.
Just been done to some stupid formula.
Yeah, they just have it. It's probably computer generated.
Yep.
Probably.
They should put another 0 on it.
And did you hear what the fault was, Frank?
I didn't.
No. Apparently, if you can hear me over the rain.
Yeah, I can.
When they did the upgrade to their NBN service.
Yeah.
Or the NBN, and they sent bad software down the line to reprogram the firmware of the modems and everything.
Yeah.
And it totally stuffed them up.
Oh, no.
So the signals they sent down stuffed it up.
Oh. So it was their fault.
It was. And I didn't think about that, and I was talking to a chap the other night, and he said, his modems, he's high up in IT, and he said, I think he's with IINet or something, and he said the modem stopped working, and he suspected it was bad software, and it was.
Wow.
So
sometimes if you have a power outage while you're doing a firmware upgrade, it can completely wreck things.
Yeah, I don't think but it's all on the UPS, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Right, yeah.
Was it easy to find out what went wrong?
Oh, the guy came.
Yeah.
And he was, just I've got to close the roll of door, otherwise
I'll incredible. I wonder if we're going to get that.
You probably will. Stand by.
That's amazing, Steve.
It's really heavy rain. I'm just thinking if I got everything battened down.
Yeah, I know. I'll see if we've got all our windows, so the bedroom windows shut. I know that.
Now, it's just hit right this moment. Here we go. Whoa.
You're getting rain now too?
Yeah, I'm getting that. The thick of it in here. I can hear it. We've got an internal gutter, and it does overwhelm.
Yeah.
And
we do. We've got a flat roof in the front of the house. The porch is flat, and it builds up, and it comes into the lounge room.
Right.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
That's pretty bad.
It's got to be extremely heavy, but it does, and books have been ruined and stuff.
Yes. That's bad. I remember once Peter Parker was here. We're doing a live missions on Saturday night, and there was a storm like this, and all rain came in, and we're sitting just like a flood came through the garage.
Gosh, it went right through, did it?
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So everything's left is off. Anything valuable is not on the ground.
We've cleared the deck, but and you've got to be there with towels and buckets and things.
Yeah, that's a hassle.
It'll test if any leaks in the roof, that's for sure.
That's right.
Yes, I've got a few cracked tiles, and it always ends up with wet spots on the roof.
One thing about my shack, it seems to be quite waterproof.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, excellent.
Anyone wants to come on Talky, Talky.io, go on Talky and then type in X bands and you can talk to us if you're not flooded out. Yeah, so that's what happened to the NBN. It's back now. I don't know how long it's going to last for. If it pops again, well, but we make the most of it.
So they just did a generic rollout of a firmware upgrade, and it somehow got stuck in your system and failed it.
That's right, yeah.
Gosh.
Don't know how many other people it happened
I wonder if it happened to anybody else.
It might have. The guy who came, he seemed to have a bit of a clue.
Yeah, he's probably expecting that problem.
And he tested put the meter on the line and went out to the box at the front and tested that.
Right.
And he came in with another box with a new modem and plugged it in.
And it was all okay?
Yeah.
Ah.
So at least they didn't charge me for the new stuff.
Yes. Oh, that would have been the last straw if they'd done that.
Right.
But it was an inconvenience. You didn't have the internet for several days.
Yeah, well, it was a week.
Oh, it was the whole week?
Yep, it was Thursday to Thursday. And when I rang them up first, they said, we'll wait till tomorrow. And I rang them up and they said, they tested, they couldn't see it working. So they said, it'll come on Monday. And I said, well, that's not very good, a whole weekend without the internet. But so that's the best they could do. And then on the Monday, they were having a scheduled outage. And they said, there's no point sending someone there when the whole system isn't working. And then they said, you have to reschedule, and they're going to reschedule to this week coming, like a week ahead. And I said, that's just not on. I mean, I said, I'm really pissed off. And they said, maybe you can come Thursday. So he did come Thursday, and he sorted it out. So,
gosh, it's pretty incredible. Go on.
I did turn off the Optus modem and put it away, just in case. I thought if some idiot came, he might say, it's not working because you've got the other system running.
Exactly.
That's right.
Even though it's a different company, different cable, different everything.
But it's the sort of thing people do. They look for a scapegoat, don't
Any
they?
excuse to go and collect their money and do another job.
Yes, that's it, exactly. So no, I think that was an astute move.
Yes.
Yeah, but see, $12 is not fair compensation for a week. You're not paying $50 a month, are you?
No.
So that's crap.
Yeah.
It is total crap.
You should be part of the $100 whatever you're paying a month.
Yeah.
It should be $20.
It should be at least. Yeah.
Still, it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
they should give you more because you've spent hours on the phone and it's your time.
That's the trouble. I hate those phones. And I guess, look, it's working. As long as it works. You haven't had any problems yet, but
well, ours drops out almost every day.
Does it for a while?
At some point, or
So does ours on Optus, but
right.
You've got same as Dave, haven't you?
I do. I've got an Aussie BB, and because people said that it's the most reliable in that sense.
Yeah.
I've heard several people say that.
Yeah, but anyhow, no, it does drop out, and it congests, and everything freezes up at peak times. Now,
really?
that was something that's not supposed to happen with that company.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely happy about it. But,
now, look, I must admit, if I do a test, it's like 94 down, 34 up.
That's pretty good.
And even in peak hours, it's really great. So maybe, because they did totally refurbish all the cable system and they put new pits in, maybe they're putting a new thing in the street, and it's certainly, I'm not complaining about that. I'm just complaining that it didn't work at all for a while.
Oh, yeah, well, the fact that your service was stalled and they took so long to sort of act on it. But look, it sounds like it's if you've got if it's working to that extent, if you're getting 94 hours, it's not that fast. Yeah,
but I'll do a Check-O-Matic now, and it probably might crash the.
It shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
So you're having no trouble running 4 streams?
No, it's working really good. And I'll have to get another another browser up, and
Oh, I can do one here. What is the...
here is speed test. Let's see what it says. Finding optimal server, hit the thing, ping 13, jitter 2, download 87, 88, 90, 91, 92, 93. It's 93 down, and it'll go up 29, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 36. That's pretty close to specifications.
Okay.
Great uplink speed.
Yeah.
I've just done mine, and I'm 91 down, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And only 15 up.
Ah,
So that's interesting.
yeah.
Maybe that might have affected... No, it wouldn't have affected
No.
the talking.
Are you on the big the 150 or whatever?
Yes,
100?
I am. I'm on the same plan as you.
Yeah.
But no, this is a wireless system though,
Oh, it could be slowing it
so
down.
it could be a bit slower.
Yeah.
So this is completely wireless. So,
I've got Cat 5 out here.
okay, yeah, I do too here, but it seems to be a bit problematic.
Right.
I've had some issues with it. I'm relying on wireless. So yes, 15 up's a bit slow. I might just test again.
Yeah.
That's not so good.
And of course, you've heard the latest from the NBN that they think they don't like the 100 down, 50 up plans. They want to make it a maximum of 25 up
Oh, what a load of crap that is.
and make the 50 up a business plan.
Back to the future.
Yes, exactly.
Can you imagine?
Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's because they haven't got the capacity, so they're going to do that. I mean, can you imagine a car company say, look, our next model of car, it won't go as fast or be as fuel efficient or as safe as a previous model now, but it's what people want.
This is ridiculous. Like, you can't go backwards.
No.
It's just it's the worst business model imaginable.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, really? I think they're just they can't. There'd be a hue and cry. All of the gaming fraternity, all the young people.
Exactly,
They rely on the on having all that extra facility, and particularly with as people move towards 4K, 8K
Oh, yes,
uploads,
yeah.
fast uploads.
I mean, I don't use it all. The thing is that they're worried, like most people with a high upload don't use it all the time. It's only so I can upload a few fast things a week instead of sitting here for hours. It's done in 2 minutes. It's a convenience thing.
The rain's just hit here.
Oh,
I need
right.
to go and just check on some windows.
Okay, we'll stand on by.
I'll be back soon.
It should be fairly short because it's just past here now.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But I better go and...
Okay.
Sure, just find out. Okay.
Yeah, so it's I think the CEO, whatever, he's floated that idea. It might be a better idea, better business model. So you pay $500 for the high speed now. So it's a business plan.
Oh God, I don't think it could happen.
No.
It just couldn't happen. There'd be too much furore about it all.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that when 5G comes, if they're not competitive, they'll lose so big.
They will. The bottom will completely fall out of the NBN.
Yeah, they will have to. What they'll have to do is, if 5G is so good, they'll have to make the NBN so cheap that people will use it.
Yes, it'll be an interesting playing field when 5G comes in, but I wonder if there'll be. If that'll be throttled before it starts. Well, they'll hold it back as long as possible, I think.
Yeah,
because I
that's
think
right.
there's a lot of political pressure to get the make the NBN into a successful.
Yeah, it
thing.
won't be. It won't be.
But I think ultimately it's bound to be at least be competed with.
Well, someone I think read in the paper, interesting comparison. It's like, in the early 1800s, someone trying to promote a canal between Manchester and Birmingham when there's already a railway line being built. And it's obvious one's going to totally outdo the other, but they're still trying to push the old technology and earn a buck out of it. So it could just be copper in the ground that's useless in 10 years' time.
Yes.
interesting times, but it's the whole thing has just been a fiasco. It hasn't. I don't think it's worked anything like what they hoped, and it's blown out in every direction. And they've just got cowboys putting the systems in.
Oh, yes.
So it seems.
Yep.
But yes. Oh well. At least it's going now. I've just done another test. I'm 21 upload now, so
you're getting
that's
better.
all right. That's okay.
Yep.
It took me, I think, only about 7 seconds to upload my 2-hour missions.
Really? Oh, yes.
It doesn't take long. But that Tunes to Tube is a really great little program, because otherwise you have to upload in a video program and put in a visual thing, and it's so quick and easy. And it's worth the $10 a 6 months for that.
Now, is your upload in stereo?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes,
good.
so I put it up in stereo, and it seems to come up quite well.
Oh, excellent.
So I think I'll do them all. I didn't realise that that was as easy as it could be. So that worked out very nicely. I've just got to upload the MP3s, just make sure that I log them initially. And I thought it all defaulted to mono as a part of the package, but that's not the case. So yes, stereo missions up at the moment. Yeah.
I'll see if there's any mail coming up the line. No new mails, no. Okay. So now, since we talked about things earlier on, I suppose we can think of something if Frank comes back, maybe. Now, that's interesting. There's a lot of background noise in your shack.
Yes, there's a number of fans and things. I'll take the cans off and have a listen to how loud it is. Yeah, it's pretty loud.
Yeah.
I've got 2 fans on the... I think I'll need to put a resistor in line, and one of them is sort of running pretty intensely. So, and I can probably, because this microphone's quite directional, I'm just using a dynamic mic. I find that works better.
Yeah.
I can bring it off axis a little bit, and it might improve things a little. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But and when the fans go on, it does tend to sort of add to the noise floor a bit. Yeah,
well, you need obviously all the fans out of the booth in the operating room.
That's the way. That's the preferred system, is to have everything isolated, have a proper booth, and a contained thing with a big window.
Yep.
So you didn't have that at Brindy Road, did you?
No. Sometimes I would use the two upstairs rooms. I had tie lines between the big room and the small room, and there was a few crossbands where I sat in the small room. All I had was a mic, and plugged headphones in, and I could do it, and I was away from the other thing.
That's the room in that photograph.
The big room's the one in the photograph where I'm sitting, and I had a bedroom in the other back part of the thing.
I see.
And I think one of the crossbands, the soak is the operator. He's sitting in the control room, and I was sitting in the other room.
He was working in the continuity.
That's right. Yes, the continuity room, in the silence room.
Yes. Okay. I can imagine. Yeah. So I've seen a few photos of that of your setup there, but. Yes, I think you've streamlined it all very nicely with the good visuals out into the rack room.
That's right.
It's a big garage, isn't it? There must be a 4-car garage.
It would have been a 4-car garage.
It must have been a mechanics thing.
Yeah, I think they ran a business or something.
Have they pulled down the fat houses yet?
No, they're still there. They're still fatting away.
Yeah, right.
Probably. I don't think there was...
Returning to nature?
Yeah, I think everything's taken out of them. They'll be bashed down soon and turned into a...
You get an apartment block?
Multifunctional apartment, polished block.
I dare say. But, yeah. So what sort of tennis did you have a tennis on the roof at Brindy Road? How did that all happen?
We had a...
I think you mentioned this before.
Yeah,
you had a...
There's a crabapple tree at the back of the garage.
Right.
And that... You could climb up that, and I used to sit in it, right? You could have a nice view of the Dandenong Ranges and the bay. Anyway, you could climb up that to about a 20-foot part. Then I got just, at that age, bits of pipe, wood, string, tied it all together, and it was a bendy sort of thing, and it was probably up, it could have been 50 feet, that end. So basically...
What, just using polypipe and stuff?
Oh, not even, just old water pipe and bits of fence posts and all sorts of
you
things.
Sort of lashed it all together and
Yeah.
just... Okay.
And it was pretty like, it used to always keep falling down.
Okay, and what did you use for a radial system?
Well, I just bashed a stake in the ground and had a few wires, nothing particularly good. And I just had a vertical, just an inverted L going up that pole, then horizontal, but it was across the roof, which was a pain, as I said before. It got RF.
That's the thing.
Mind you, I was made up the fact that I did have the big emitters which had 2813s in it, and it would have run 500, I think.
Yes.
And that was the inefficiencies were
made up for by sheer power.
That's right.
Yes, the lorry factor. Yeah.
So
Back in the very early days of missions.
that's right. Now you would have heard me from Brindy Road there, Frank, wouldn't
I
you?
certainly did.
Was it a good signal?
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Right.
And used one of those little Trimax mixers like I have here.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
For the stud faders with all the click, click, click.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, and it worked okay. I think I've used a cheap radio parts, cheap mixer was just a feedback city. Then I got the Trimax thing, it seemed to work okay. And I made the branch, one of the branch limiters cards and put it in a box. It wasn't a limiter, it was an on-off switch of gain.
Right.
You can hear it just pumps, hits a threshold and just drops the gain.
Right.
Very unsubtle.
Yes.
But it would have been good for Abbey Road. It had that effect.
Yes, for the super compression.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. And what sort of mic did you use then? Did you use a dynamic?
I used the Ray-Par condenser mic.
Oh, did you?
Because they'd just come on the market, and compared to anything else affordable, they were so far ahead.
Right.
Well, terrific.
Yeah, you're a bit...
double A bat.
Yeah, I think you've turned your volume up too much again or something.
Have I?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I've got a glass in one hand and a mic in the other. Just hold on.
Okay.
Yep.
And look, I had a few old bash mics, but the Ray-Par mics were great. The only problem, they had a bit of a hiss level.
Yep.
But if you just talked up close, they were fine. They were super fi.
The proximity effect.
Yep, they were super fi, and they were. They put a little 1.5 volt battery in the thing. I've got two brand new ones here. I've bought at an auction somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And
I'll have to have a look. I have to look up their Ray-Par mics.
Yep.
I'm sure I've seen them around.
Yeah, and they were like, they were $20 or something. Previously to that, a $20 mic was absolute crap. And these things sounded like a pseudo Neumann. They had that transparent condenser sound.
Oh, very good.
The electret condenser mics.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's before the Panasonic inserts came into... it became standard fare, I suppose.
Yeah, well, now you can buy the little inserts for $2.
Exactly, yeah. Little FET mics.
Yep, and that's all they were in them. So, that was how it was set up.
Okay, yeah. You had a turntable, you had a Corrado or something, didn't you?
I had,
Colaro?
I'll just check, Frank.
Hello?
Yeah, okay.
How's that?
That's okay, yeah.
You had, they were actually electric mics, they were called, weren't
That's
they?
right, yeah. Now, what was I going to say? Oh, yes. What was I going to say? Oh, the turntable.
Oh, yes.
I had I think basically I did buy one of those, they advertised in the old magazines, the poor man's Presto record cutter, the BSR
thing. Oh, yeah, the BRS fire cutter.
With a little 6V6 amp in it.
Okay.
And I've cut those
Yes,
discs.
that's right. I've heard you talk about this before, yeah. So you used to cut to acetate.
Yep.
Where'd you get acetate blanks from?
From the whole cupboard at the ABC had all these old acetates.
Right.
And I found if you it wasn't a hot cut stylus, but you wrap fuse wire around and put a few amps in, it really made it super quiet.
It made a big difference.
It was beautiful quality. And
very good. You have to dig some up and play some on play some acetates live to air.
Yeah, I've got them here somewhere. And the So I used that as a turntable to display stuff. It came with, I think, an ACOS crystal cartridge thing, one of those plastic things, as well. So you didn't play with the cutting head. And I think then I stuck a cheap arm and a cheap magnetic cartridge on, which sounded better. Unfortunately, the bearings and the motor of that failed. That started. It was wobbly and it was hopeless. And then I went to, I think, one of those disposal shops in town. One of those ones. There were quite a few, and then I bought it was a Bayer turntable, but an industrial version.
Okay.
A 16-inch.
Oh, right.
And in this big wooden thing, it weighed 10 tonnes. I had to take it home in the tram.
Okay.
And I used that for a while, but it was full of rumble.
Yes.
And then I think I just ended up using a silk rod.
Okay.
Which was was much quieter.
I'm sure
you couldn't cue on it.
We wouldn't be able to cue, of course.
But it just had no rumble at all.
Yes.
They were very good, those.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
And the Bayer Mark 1 for playing stuff.
Yeah. So you had a Mark 1 with a dodgy meter, didn't you?
Yeah, the Mark 1 and the Pyrox, they were my recorders.
The main recorders. I thought you had the Pyrox first, didn't you?
Yes, yeah.
The first cab off the rank.
What sort of stuff did you cut?
Just test materials. I've got some examples I might try and find.
Yeah, it'd be good to. You have to play.
Very interesting. Yeah.
You've got a photo of yourself queuing up a acetate, I think, on your Crossband site.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, that's right. So it's gone through a few, regenerations. The thing, I suppose.
It'd be fun to find one of those disc cutting machines. I think it'd be great to play around with.
I'd like to do that. And there must be some modern plastic that you can cut.
Yeah, there would be.
There would be.
There's a lot of YouTube sites of people cutting CDs and plastic plates and doing stuff.
But I still think acetate works at best. They still use it. And
I wonder if you can still buy blanks.
I think they must be able to, because they still cut on them.
Yeah.
They're probably not cheap.
They're probably not. There's a lot at that big estate.
Yeah, wouldn't you? No,
well, I think we threw them out or gave them away. It's a shame, because it would have been nice to have a stash of acetates.
Yeah.
Make swath bombs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Just trying to find a file.
Yeah, if you've got a file, that'd be good to hear. No, look, that would be most interesting. So they didn't have the arm was just a fixed pivot arm, wasn't it? It wasn't one of those
there was a
radial tracking system things.
There was a screw arm underneath the turntable.
Right.
It wasn't over the top.
Yep.
It's a cheap way of doing it.
Yes, it's a very agricultural approach.
Yeah.
But they used those up in the bombers during the war.
Right.
They were pretty basic machines.
They certainly were.
Have you ever heard those files, Frank? Of the Air Force files of when they were doing bombing raids on Dresden and Berlin.
I certainly haven't.
They're really interesting.
They would be.
Yes, some of them they took record cutters up and they recorded the dialogue as they were undergoing the bombing raids.
Amazing.
And it's quite extraordinary to listen to.
Yeah,
and they're as cool as cool.
Yeah. I wonder if they were. Internally is...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I often think that. But it's all that's very, tally-ho, old boy.
Yeah, that's very stiff upper lip.
Yeah,
that's right, yes.
That's the character. But they're remarkable when you think of those disc cutters that they had up in the plains would have been bouncing all over the place, yet they...
incredible.
They worked.
They were able to still track.
Yes. Yeah, but they're interesting.
Yeah, they say, righto, skip.
Yeah.
They sound about 80 and they're probably 19.
Exactly. It's pretty horrible when you think of what's going on. They're dropping payloads of bombs onto German cities and firebombing them, and it's a bizarre sort of thing to sort of contemplate.
Sort of mirth in the face of death.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, they couldn't think about it, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Exactly. Well,
that's totally right.
Yeah, they were that was a part of the.
There are recordings of the Yep.
Yeah, well, there's a film of Hiroshima, isn't there?
Hiroshima, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty.
The fat boy was.
Yeah. And you see the plane through the window, the thing going off.
Yeah.
Yep.
See it dropping out the bottom of the plane.
That's it.
And it's just it sends a chill.
It was a nice sunny day apparently.
All was well. Yeah, true.
And all of a sudden, big flash. Yeah. So look, I think people have to be. It's harder, I suppose. Well, I don't know, but they're just pressing a button. To them, it's just look underneath, and hopefully, it's they can't think of all of the people are being burnt and ruined and.
Well, there's no fate to the damage. It must be sort of tricky for people with who fly those drones in theatres of war, and when you're looking at a group of people and you just I suppose it's the same as a sniper or anyone on the ground.
When they take one of them out,
yeah, they just do that, and you see a big flash, and then
they're gone.
Yeah.
But
you were hundreds of miles away.
Well, that's right. They're sitting in a lounge chair in Houston or something.
They can be in a different country.
That's right.
They must have very good internet connection to something. They never go. Imagine a secure.
Not using Aussie broadband.
No, they've got a secure satellite link.
Yeah,
for sure.
It'd have to be pretty fail-safe, I think. But did you find a file of your?
No, I'm still looking. Looking for files and trying to talk at the same time.
I know it's hard. I can't do it.
It's.
I go into suspended animation when I'm trying to multitask. I find it hard to cue in one ear. I marvel at operators who have the ability to hear a completely independent conversation while maintaining their rhetoric. I think there must be a real skill in being able to do that well.
Yeah, it's not just like trying to do two things at once, I suppose.
I used to know an old ham who could carry on a conversation and receive fast Morse at the same time.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I know. I can't understand. One of my difficulties in playing the piano was being able to think of what two hands are doing at the one time.
Yeah, I think you come to a point where you actually have to not think about it. You have to
those who do it well,
they
certainly don't think in terms
you have to practice disconnecting. You learn the skill, and you learn it methodically. And then I remember my teacher in London saying this years ago. He said, now once I got it right, he said, now you've got to unlearn everything I've said to you, everything you've done, and go and read a newspaper and play it. So it becomes sort of in your
nature to you.
Yes, it becomes in your muscle memory.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens with Morse operators and any sort of fine motor discipline. That probably happens with martial arts and stuff as well. That you just I know there are certain pieces I can play and talk while I'm playing them. I can play the Prelude to the First Bach Suite with chatting away.
Can you really?
Well, only because I've played it a zillion times.
Okay, but still, it's not an easy piece.
Well, but your muscles just do it.
Okay.
But there's not that many pieces I can do that with.
No. I'm also amazed by people who can play and sing at the same time.
Yeah, that's the skill. I
think so.
Now, like, what I find really hard is I can play the bass line or the treble line reasonably okay.
Yeah.
Put them both together, it's like 10 times harder.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And it's just, I think, if I could do one or the other, like, I'd be quite happy with my progress, but both together is just so hard.
Certainly.
And the progress, there's slight progress, but it's just, I think you just got to do it.
I think you've got to find disconnecting, because if you overthink, it stops things in its tracks.
Yeah.
This is the big problem, and I think it's a problem. One reason why adults learn much slower than kids, because kids they don't care a stuff, and they just sort of muck around and do it.
Just let it happen naturally.
Just let it happen naturally, and and. So, and the other thing, of course, young people, their brains are still forming, so they've got a lot more brain cells available for any given task. But I think, you have to sort of let go, and that's the hard thing for as adults who want to control our worlds and our environments, and for that's the difficult thing, is not having the control that you think. So,
The effortlessness of learning as a kid is a huge factor, because part of the trouble about letting go is that you're actually putting such a lot of effort into getting it into your mind.
I think you learn one little bit and a small section with each hand, and then you play it together very slowly.
Yep.
And then you sort of build it up, and then as you build it up, you try and disconnect from it. And then once you can get up to a reasonable speed without overthinking it, you just repeat it a lot and it gets in your muscle memory.
Right.
I have to learn a little bit at a time, one bar at a time, because that's the only way you can do it with Braille music.
Yes, of course.
And I did that quite successfully, but my difficulty was the disconnection bit.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's an innate thing. It's an innate thing to want to have to control everything we do.
Sure it is.
And everything about our environment is about controlling our actions and our, demeanour and everything else.
Yes.
So the art of practicing, that's why it's a very Zen thing. Because the whole Zen concept is about subjugating your, whatever the word is.
Like, it's interesting. I try and
the executive functions.
analyse what's actually happening in my mind when I'm trying to learn that sort of stuff. And you play, one hand, the other hand, put it together, and work out why you're making a mistake, where you get clashes between both sides of the brain, and maybe I'm trying to analyse it too much.
I think you probably are, and you've got to actually come to a point where you say, let yourself make a whole heap of mistakes and say, I'm just going to get this one little thing right. Get the little thing right. Everything else can just go to just be crap. And then you get another little thing right. But if you can get into a systematic way of getting all these little micro things right one by one, then you can sort of build up, layer things up. But if you try and get too many things right at the same time, it gets frustrating, and then that frustration sort of feeds into an impasse.
I find, say if I've been away for a couple of weeks, come back, play something, first off, it's fine.
Exactly.
Then I can't do it afterwards.
Yeah, this is exactly it. We all experience that. It's a very normal thing. And same thing here. I could pick up my cello and play something, and I think, how did I do that? And then I try again, and it sounds like crap. Yeah. So and it takes a long time to get back to that first step. It's because you're giving yourself permission just to just sort of do it on the fly, I suppose.
You're not even thinking about it.
You're not thinking about it, it's just sort of a whim. It's a whimsical thing rather than a considered thing.
You're doing it out of your subconscious.
Exactly.
And you don't really care if it's good or bad. No, that was good,
That's it. You've got to
I don't know
your
why.
brain.
Once you've done it the first time, you think, now, how did I do that? What did I do? Yeah. And that's where it all fails up.
It feeds into that placebo effect thing. You've got to trick your brain.
Yeah, you do.
You really got to trick yourself out of controlling stuff. Yeah. And you have to have micro goals. And I think and you have to give yourself permission to play really badly. Yeah. And that's not an easy thing for an adult to do, because everything we've done trains us not to think that way.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's an attitude thing, but it is hard to come to that realisation. Even you can theorise about it, but when it comes to the crunch, it's hard.
I think it is. It's good for your brain to force it and do things like something different. And I think there's some trying to find there's some algorithm that's working against me, and occasionally it breaks away. But if I can work out how to think, what my attitude is in doing it, I might hopefully find a key. And I know you've got to be calm. If you're a bit stressed or something, there's no point even trying to do it.
You almost need to be nonchalant.
Yes, that's right.
This is the thing, and sometimes it can be really good to just put a comic book up or a picture book up, and just do some simple pattern and do it so many times that it gets in your muscle memory. Yep. And then sort of build on these little fragments, without sort of getting too big. I think we sort of try and set ourselves goals which are just not possible to realise in a short time. In a short time, it's got to be done in a really methodical way. But I remember that talking about this with people over when I was studying and stuff. A lot of the great musicians learn everything just without their instrument at all.
Yeah,
they learn it all without, and you might just do you practice just drills and things for your coordination. That's the only practice you do, and maybe you play through the piece a few times, but you actually go through the whole thing, the whole piece
in your head
first. Then you haven't got the impedance of practicing mistakes. Because if you practice mistakes, you actually go backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
And so practice can be a really detrimental thing. So, if you could, with the piano, for instance, you could do half an hour of Hanon or something a day, finger independence exercise. That's the hardest thing on any instrument's finger independence, and or disc coordination between your arms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then learn the piece just through a different system, and then often things work a lot better.
Right.
But and you just go through the piece in your head, and you play the gestures in the air without the instrument there, which means you're actually using your hearing it in your head first.
Yeah.
And that's always the thing. That's what any established musician will do. They'll always have the tune, the whole thing formed in their mind before they play, and that's where a lot of people struggle, because their fingers are ahead of their head. So working without your instrument can be really good, and just reserve your practice for independence exercises and scales and just stuff just to get you playing evenly. But that's mainly what I do now. But
I think you'd have to be to a certain level of expertise, which is probably above, I would have thought, above a lot of musicians.
Well, look, I wonder about this. See, I've been testing with my students lately. I've worked out this little formula of a set of complementary finger drills, little exercises.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a hard sell to get a young person to do boring stuff. So you've really got to establish a rapport, and you just make it into a game. And then there's three, I won't explain what they are, but they're three complementary exercises. And I've got a lot of them doing it. I've been able to find a way to sort of convince them. And it's astonishing.
Wow.
They suddenly develop all this freedom in their playing, and then they can play stuff really well, and then it's a self-fulfilling thing. And it's been really successful, particularly this year. I've been trialling this idea, and so it's just about the coordination. I mean, really, the hardest thing about a musical instrument is just working with those fine motor skills, getting fingers to do bizarrely independent things all at the same time. And then once that freedom's there, the coordination's there, then you can sort of start playing music and not feel like you're stopping and starting and having to struggle with the
mechanics of it all.
Yeah, that's right. So that's been an interesting little discovery. But
that is fascinating.
So I've got these kids playing with really good vibrato, and that's one of the hardest things to do on a string instrument. But
sure it is.
And it's just a simple drill. And I say to them, just do this for 30 seconds a day. But do it every day for 30 seconds. And it seems to work. It's all it takes. It's just a small amount consistently, and it seems to sort of liberate things a bit.
That's terrific.
So it's an interesting one. But I think there are ways. But fundamentally, I think the bottom line is you've got to trick your brain, because we live in such an organised world, and we assume so much control over our environments that it's not good for developing, skills of this kind, I don't think. So
do you play the piano much, Dave? Gone.
I think he's gone.
Gone for a coffee, I think.
Maybe.
And a big glass of ginger beer.
Yeah.
I'm very cold.
Oh, you've got a glass of ginger beer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds refreshing.
Oh, it was. It was very refreshing.
Yeah, I haven't got any beverage in here at the moment.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah, I'm on my lonesome this weekend.
So you were saying?
Yeah.
When did she come back?
KK comes back tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
So I've got to do the footer run tomorrow morning, and I've got to go to the basin. I realised the basin.
That'll be freezing too.
Oh, the basin will be terribly cold. Can you imagine what it'll be like? It'll be 2 degrees. I hope I haven't got a job as a goal. Last time I went to the basin, I'd been on the missions until 2 o'clock or something, and I had to be a frigging goal umpire.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
And I was all rugged up, and it was just the most awful experience.
Tell them you've got the flu or something, and you've got to stay in the car.
I remember that match. I remember that it was an uneven match, so I actually gave a few extra goals to the other team to balance it out, just to make it look a bit more interesting. And I don't think that was a very popular.
How did that go over with the parents?
I don't think they were too impressed. I haven't been asked to do it since, so I think that.
No.
I was inside. I heard your comments, but I was just inside.
No, that's fine.
So
anyhow.
so the footer, And
Yes,
look, we've only got 25 minutes to the official close down time, so that's good. And it's still raining outside. It's bloody cold.
Stopped here. Didn't get very much at all, really.
Right, we must be in a rain zone.
So you're playing a bit, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, look, I do practice. Look, I love it when no one's at home and I can use the main piano.
Yeah.
But I can't do it because I just don't like doing it when someone's around. And I also think I'm the next door neighbours hear me doing it. And, I mean, and look, it would be boring hearing the same tune over and over again, or scales. I mean, people must get pissed off and they're not interested. So I'm very. A rainy, windy day is good because they really can't hear. So I come in here and play on the keyboard, which is quite good, but it's not the same. I like the real piano. I mean, it's just...
like the weighted keys.
Yep. And it's just
got... They do feel better. And you've got more control with the weighted keys.
Yeah, so you've certainly got control over your dynamics and...
Yeah, that's the dynamic thing.
And everything else.
This is it's got weighted... It was quite a good... it's a Quai keyboard. It's got weighted keys.
Oh, does it? Okay.
It's got it's just like it's got various modes, but it has got an electric piano mode. It's just like a piano,
Yeah, if you can control the touch.
It's touch sensitive, and it's look, it's good. And if you listen on headphones or patch it through a big speaker, it sounds really good, but. It's not the same as a real stringed instrument.
No, it's not at all. You're not getting the same sort of contact between you and the music.
Yeah, and like if you get people rave about how good electronic pianos are and say, well, if you bash the side of it, does it go bong?
Yeah.
And it's feeding back on itself. Every note's feeding back, and like sampling the notes from a high quality piano isn't quite the same thing, is it?
No, it's certainly not the same thing. And you don't get the interactions.
No, that's right.
With a real piano, all of the strings, they all
make the others vibrate.
That's right. There's a sympathetic resonance across the whole thing.
Do you get that with stringed instruments?
Oh, it's absolutely essential. I used to play in a heavy metal band on the electric cello. I had to take a heavy metal group, and we had electric instruments, and they're really hard to play because you get no feedback. You get no vibration feedback.
No.
And what's really important, I find, is the vibration in the instrument matched with the concept of sound.
Yeah.
And the two things is what helps you play in tune and gives you that feedback loop. And they're inert. Electric instruments are inert. So
they are. You get none of that.
You don't, and it's very fatiguing and very frustrating, actually.
Very sterile, really.
Absolutely, they are. And there's a fundamental problem. I mean, guitarists must experience this all the time, electric guitarists.
That's right. I really noticed it with that lute last night.
Yeah.
There was lovely sort of string resonance all through it.
Right. Yeah, okay. Which one was this, sorry? The
lute.
The lute music, yes, of course, that's right. Yes, there is. They've got a beautiful resonance. And a lot of lutes, instruments from that time, they had a whole set of resonant strings which we didn't play. Yeah, that was quite common. There was a lot of lutes which had another 4 strings.
Just for resonance.
Just for resonance.
The sitar does that.
Yes, they do. Absolutely. And the blues and the pianos, the ones the Beatles used, they had the Alcott tuning system with a sympathetic resonant string. They had an extra string in the top 3 octaves of the piano, suspended above the 3 strings.
Oh wow, isn't that amazing?
And it's a really interesting idea, and they sound fantastic. The blues and the pianos.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, look up Alcott tuning system. It was a very interesting idea.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, and the Beatles used them, so that's interesting little bit of non-information. But I find with electric instruments I overplay and I get really muscularly tired because I'm trying to get that connection, which there's no feedback loop. So and the sound's always displaced because of the speaker's not necessarily right where you need it. But I think that might be the case. I don't play the piano, but it might be the case with electric pianos too. But real pianos are you really connect with it, I think.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think for a very a musician of any real talent, an electric substitute would never do.
No, well, yeah, probably not. Not as say something, not something to really refine your playing. I think it would be you'd feel like you hit the wall at a certain point.
At least they're always in tune.
I find personally I like playing alongside electric pianos simply because they're in tune.
Yeah,
they certainly are in tune.
Yeah.
My friend Geraldine, that I keep talking about from time to time, used to, when she was teaching, she taught groups of kids with these sort of electric pianos.
Oh yes, like a keyboard lab type thing.
Yeah. That wasn't obviously she taught one-on-one, but I think it was at McKinnon High she did this group thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And she said it wasn't obviously nowhere near as good as the one-on-one, and nowhere as good not having the acoustic instruments. But she said it was a lot better than nothing, and it was she found it to be reasonably successful.
Okay. Oh well, that's good. I mean, a lot of the Yamaha system uses group lessons on keyboards.
Yes.
And there are a number of sort of ways of where everyone's on a headphone loop and stuff like that. And the teacher can just flick a switch and hear what anyone's doing at any time.
Yeah, my oldest kid did that.
Okay, yeah, no, it's not a bad way to learn. Do you still play, Frank? Do you play the piano much?
Very badly. I don't have I don't have a real piano, but I have lots of.
Yeah, you've got plenty of keyboards, don't you?
As you saw.
Yeah, but you got up to quite a standard on the piano. I remember you telling me.
I got to 5th.
Okay.
Kathy got to 7th grade.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
But my enjoyment of the piano, of keyboard, is really around just with chord progression,
sure,
and melodies and stuff that I just sort of tinker around with myself.
Okay.
It's not playing complex things. It's mainly stuff that I hear and I like to play.
Yeah, fair enough.
Got a reasonably good ear, actually.
Yeah, I think you do. I think you've got an astonishing ear.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Actually, I along those, relevant to that is that did I tell you about the test that I had to do for, I didn't have to do it, a woman doing her PhD in plasticity asked me to do a test for her. Did I tell you about that?
No.
What she was doing, she had a theory that blind people would use their visual cortex for hearing.
Right.
And so some of us volunteered. I was quite happy that I was interested to do it.
Yes.
And we went in and to Monash and stuck your head into an MRI machine.
Okay.
And were given listening tests in terms of 2 tones played one after the other, very close together in pitch.
Yes.
And you had to nominate which was the higher of the 2, say.
Yeah.
And in other words, it was a fairly stringent listening exercise.
Okay, so you had notes like a few cents apart sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of order.
Right.
And it really tested you out.
Yeah.
And sure enough, my visual cortex lit up.
Really? How interesting is that?
Yeah, I know.
That is absolutely fascinating.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Golly gosh.
And so did a few of the other blind people. Not everyone.
Okay. How interesting. And how about for people with sight? Does that happen as well?
No.
Or it doesn't?
No.
How about that?
Doesn't.
That is very interesting. I wonder if heightened senses in other respects as well. I wonder if synesthesia is more common with blind people as well.
Well, you wouldn't. It could be, but it can't involve any sight.
No, not sight, but taste and.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not aware of it of any of that sort of cross sense.
Yeah, sure.
But and I haven't actually heard of it, but it does sound as though it would be a possibility.
Yes, it's interesting. I know that it's something a lot of musicians have, is that the blurring of the senses.
Yeah, it's just an extreme sensitivity, I think, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. I get tastes sometimes when I hear music.
Do you?
Yeah. I can actually almost taste the sound.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to say, but there's a evocation of some sort, and I know people who see colours when they hear sounds.
Yes.
And that's an interesting one. And but I think it's because the sense areas are very closely located in the brain.
Yeah.
And there can be a bit of sort of overlap. I think that's the sort of background to it.
Yeah.
But that's really fascinating about the MRI. How about that?
It is. It's just to do with brain plasticity.
Sure.
You need to have people who have either never seen or have lost their sight very early.
Yeah.
For it to work.
Yes.
And it's also thought to be the reason that people who get...
You there?
Yeah. Oh,
very well.
So we just lost that comment there, Frank.
It's also the reason thought to be that people who get their sight later in life often find it extremely difficult.
Right.
Because their visual cortex has been assigned to some other
It's been assigned to other things. It's fascinating. Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, that's really amazing. I mean, your knowledge and your understanding of music is just it's fantastic. It's really
very kind.
No, look, I mean it. It's wonderful, and I really you obviously listen very deeply, and you really sense the spirit and the flavour and the whole. Yeah.
Just love music.
Yeah, you do. You experience it very deeply, obviously.
Indeed.
Yeah, and that's tremendous.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I suppose your early experience with music, I suppose you either like it or you don't. And I guess I've always, had an appreciation of it. And it's, I don't know why everyone else in my family learnt early. I was never taught music. And I'm the only one who's got any interest in it now.
Really?
Yep.
Did you ever have any formal lessons at all? Or?
Well, see, my brothers, they were taught by the lady down the street or whatever.
Yep.
And they're somewhat older than me. And then when I was never formally taught any music.
Okay.
And I don't know why. And we had a piano. I used to bash around on it occasionally. And in my, I was doing matriculation. And I went up to a lady up the street and got some lessons.
Okay.
And I probably did it for a few months. Then the old man said, "You can't learn. Don't do this rubbish. You've got to learn your HSC and study, get matriculation. Give this the miss." And he basically told me to stop learning.
Oh no, that's cruel. That's terrible.
He did, and I couldn't. And I thought, well, it's a different part of the mind. It would have helped me.
It probably would have helped you.
And it was so I had to can that.
Oh, that's really sad to hear that.
Certainly is.
And it sort of they had a strange attitude, I think, to things. And that was a major, I suppose, who knows, I suppose I still wasn't that young, but it could have made a difference.
It could have certainly made a difference and probably would have helped you in other ways. It's a very important complement to other work, I think.
Yeah.
And even if there's a recreational player, just being able to sort of chill out and just be in your own zone. Yeah. It's and to have the skill to be able to just sort of pick up an instrument and express through the playing, I think is really important. Oh, that's really quite tragic, actually.
It was quite tragic. Look, I should have said, well, stuff I'll keep doing. I was paying for it myself. I mean, it wasn't as if they were doing it.
Yeah, jeez.
And they thought, well, your results in the school aren't too good. Maybe if you stop doing this music stuff, you might do better. Which didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And they had the strange idea that your brain fills up. And I remember, I used to read Electronics Australia and play with electronic stuff and science and things. And they said, look, you can't do this because when you're doing this at school, in the higher school years, you'll be bored with it and you won't learn it properly. You've got to leave it till you do it in a formal way. And they seem to think like the brain was a size that would only fill up with so much information and get
if
full.
you fill it up with music and electronics, you won't be able to fill it up with it. No space for anything else.
Exactly.
You know, that you only have a certain amount of capacity.
Yeah.
It's bizarre, and in fact the absolute opposite is true.
It totally is.
It is. The more you
use it, the better it gets.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's unfillable.
It is unfillable, and you correlate through things that mean stuff to you. So if you do things that sort of, you know, reflect your own interests, then you make connections with the other stuff that's a bit boring, like school, and you end up succeeding more because you've sort of got your primary mode of expression and interest, which sort of leads the way.
Yeah, you get to see more and more where it fits into to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And look, the attitude was, I remember once he had, the old man had a friend around who ran a company somewhere. And they were, of course, they're technical people, and they were talking about, which was big then, fluidics, which is fluid logics.
Oh, yes.
Where you have hydraulic control of equipment, and you had logic circuits in fluid or NOR gates and all sort of thing in pipes that ran and stuff.
Yep.
And they were talking about this, and I was about 11 or something, so I ran upstairs, grabbed my Electronics Australia, came down, and I said, look, I've been reading about this, and I showed the guy my magazines on fluidics, and we talked about that. And then at the end of the night, you know, he said, you know, the old man said, showed him out the door, thanks for coming, all sort of thing. And as soon as he shut the door, he said, never do that again. Don't ever show me up your knowledge. And I just, of course, this guy, you know, before he left, the guy said, "You've got a bright boy here. You know, you better look after him because he's on the right track." And then he still closed the door, and it was just like someone cutting off your head. It was just terrible.
That's appalling.
I got inflated, then totally deflated.
Yeah, that's very cruel.
I'd be delighted to have a son that showed that sort of ingenuity.
Oh, look, that's terribly cruel. He was probably treated the same way himself.
Yeah.
But this is a sad thing that people tend to sort of have these limited ways, but it's terrible. That it's so damaging. That sort of thing really affects self-esteem in a fundamental way, I reckon.
I think it does.
It can be a real block.
And it's only in later years I've realised that those two things probably made a big difference.
They probably did. They probably affected your mindset, and I suppose the corollary is that it can inwardly it can sort of, you know, you can still have a strong resolve to do, because it must have felt wrong.
Yeah, it was just terrible. I mean, what do you do? I mean, it's. See, I think
terribly hurtful.
It is, and it's showing that all that I've learned is just crap, you know. And
it's a very demoralising sort of thing. Yeah, that's tragic. Very sad because you know, it really just shows such a disrespect.
Yeah, I think that, you know, they kept brought up in the Depression ages, and the sort of to go off on a tangent learning about fluidics or something is just, you know, there's plenty to do that when you'd go to uni or whatever. I mean, don't do it now. It was just, I couldn't quite understand the logic. It was like this, it was almost like a, you really can't have and you can't really enjoy yourself too much because that's bad.
Yes, I think that's probably the basis of it. And yes, you're not supposed to enjoy yourself. Life's supposed to be really hard.
A very Puritan sort of atmosphere.
Yes, it is, indeed.
As you say, a lot of it came out of the Depression, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, they had a hard time, and it was just in the 70s or 60s or whatever it was, everyone was having a good time, and they probably couldn't understand that. And you know, if you spent, you know, listening to Beatles records or something, they'd think that was a waste of time. You should be, you know, working or doing something.
Yeah, cockeyed view of a sense of entitlement, really.
Yeah. I hope they're not listening up there. And
oh, well.
They'll probably understand better if they...
Yeah, maybe so.
That's right, yes. But I suppose it is a product of that generational thinking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's... because you would have, you know, schools would have been sufficiently progressive to understand the importance of kids and their agency about things, and to sort of have that rebuke is pretty horrible.
Yeah, it's... I guess they're probably thinking of the best, but I think it's just a narrow sort of minded...
Yeah, sounds like it.
Terribly narrow-minded.
But you don't forget things like that, though.
And all my radio work was considered like it was just unworthy, it was just making a mess, wires around the place, and they're always talking about, like, there was nothing that, this could go to, this could come to some good, you know, because there was no formal exam in it.
Yeah.
It was...
it's a real sort of end-gaining mentality, isn't it? That everything's about a tangible result rather than the means.
And they thought that... because they thought education was a key to everything, unless you got a university education, you were just going to be scum factory workers, sort of like they had to be. And if you didn't do uni, you're just going to be back in that mould. But, it doesn't suit everybody.
No, certainly doesn't. Very puritanical.
If it did suit everybody, we'd have far too many universities.
Well, we have too many already, I think.
We do indeed.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are shoehorned into disciplines that they don't really...
yes.
They can't connect with.
Yep. Yeah, so that's my sad story. I should get Hearts and Flowers should be playing.
Yes, that's right. No,
so then I had to settle for broadcast ops after that.
There's a segue for a call in.
Yes.
But no, look, I think it just shows that the way that older generation relate is it's very important to sort of have that respect for any curiosity that a young person might have.
Yeah, because you can say something you don't even think about, and it could change someone's life.
It could fundamentally, absolutely. Yeah. I have to say I was very lucky that I was fully supported.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. I couldn't have been more supported.
Yeah.
Neither of my parents they both left Hadley School at 14.
Yeah.
But they couldn't have been more encouraging to be helpful.
It's like, look, they weren't bad parents. They weren't.
I'm sure.
No one got bashed, and it was not a violent household. I think what had happened, my older brothers were a lot older. They had a great life. And then I think by that time, I was a bit older. I think a bit of Alzheimer's was settling in.
Could well be.
And I think when I think back, and I was like the young kid living at home, and everything that happened that was bad was my fault. And I think it was just...
I think as people get older, they become less. They lose their free spirit. They become more inward thinking, and they just want quiet life. And anything that sort of is out of that,
It's a great tendency for people who, as they get older, to turn in on themselves more and become narrower in their thinking, isn't there?
That's right.
I think there's a real object lesson there about you have to stay curious and you have to challenge yourself even if it's out of comfort zones.
That's right.
But we do, Steve.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Yeah, that's right. So, so we got a philosophical session and probably getting high ratings on...
I should hope so. This really ought to be recorded.
Yes.
Well, they're important discussions. You've got to look at the way we react in the world.
I should be a victim now. I could be much more woke than I am if this hadn't happened to me. Yeah. And it stifled I could have been, some important person rather than just sitting here doing crossbands. It's terrible.
They go down the victim route.
No, he's not going to.
I need compensation.
Yeah. That's a slippery slope.
Yes.
Look, it is at the same time. It's important to sort of see sort of seminal things that affected you may have or may not have affected your thinking, and attitudes that don't work, that don't seem right. And I suppose people always will, pick up on what their parents did or what the environment dictated. But at the same time, it's pretty sad.
It's interesting. Like you look back, most of it you can't remember a lot of things, but there's a few things you can remember
vividly.
Yeah, you can remember the exact words and. It may be something insignificant too. Just some things stick in your mind.
You don't know why half the time.
Yeah, that's right. Like there's a few words and phrases I can remember perfectly from when I was very young. Why are they stuck in my mind and other things haven't? Just
they must have sort of have a particular. There must have been a particular emotional response that stayed with you. Maybe
that'll be it. Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
But it's interesting, isn't it, how we sort of latch onto things. But yeah.
So it's. But everyone has their little. People had worse stories. They get bashed, or
Oh well, that's
or
it.
get treated badly. It was. I think it was just they just didn't know what they were doing, and the generation had changed. They couldn't understand like kids in the 50s, a lot different from kids in the 70s, and they were really brought up to in that era. And I was it's a totally different world.
Yeah, it's sort of a disconnect with young. That's the other reason why it's important, I think, to sort of hang around young people a bit, or just sort of be aware of a different generation and the way they think and the way they prioritise things. And it's doesn't always sit comfortably with the. I feel challenged all the time. I sort of think, there's certain sort of predispositions, and especially with social media and stuff. But it's probably it's all okay.
Well, very easy as you get very, particularly you could say over 70, to isolate yourself and just hang about with G's and get the sort of because your kids are too old to sort of be a channel into the really youthful, and your grandkids might be too young, or whatever, if you have any, and it becomes, you've actually got to make a positive effort, I find, to get yourself out of that rut. I mean, there's a lot to be said for old people seeing each other and supporting each other. But at the same time, as you say, you need to have the contact with generation behind you and two generations behind you, so that you've got a sense of what's really happening in the world.
Yes. So I reckon our society's got there's some really big problems. One of them is is that I think young people should have a lot more interaction with the older generations, maybe through nursing homes or even through University of the Third Age, stuff like that.
What a great idea.
The U3A should be connected with primary schools.
It would be terrific.
And it should, the whole curriculum should be based around some sort of interactive thing, and put all of this horrible stranger danger thing aside. Just bury that whole thing, because it's not even a problem in 99% of the case, and it destroys trust, and it just does so much damage.
There are kids in our street, and Kathy's hugely aware of it, who even though they don't even smile when you go past.
I know, terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So it creates this disconnect, and it marginalises demographics and stuff like that. But I think that schools should be the oral traditions, the tradition of learning from older people and respecting them would be a much, much healthier way to build societies, I think. But
I've got a text from Mr. not Bundernoon, Mr. Beauford.
Yes.
Still no carrier. No, hang on. Terrible night tonight. Had to resort to listening on streaming service. What was the problem with the NBN? The problem with the NBN was that we had it off for a week because they sent bad software and an update, and it stuffed our modem, and it took me that long to get it fixed up through all the bureaucracy. So that's basically it. Now, the young people, like I listen to Sin FM if I listen to a wireless station, because it's young people. And some people just listen to the oldie stations. How could you listen to 60s hits again with all just oldies talking about old things? It's boring as S. I've heard all those records 1,000 times. I want to hear something new, something maybe I don't like, but it's different, confronting.
Sure.
I want to hear new sounds. I don't want to hear the same. As soon as you hear the first note, you know what the song's going to be. And
the way that they interact with their music, it's the conversations, just the pace, the whole sort of demeanour. I reckon that's important too.
That's right.
It may not be the way we did things, but I think it's important to just be aware of it and open to it, even if it doesn't sort of necessarily, if it's not necessarily easy, it doesn't matter.
I reckon there's sort of two parts to it. There's the listening to it, and there's listening in a non-judgmental sort of way.
Yeah, I think you've got to suspend that thing about judging. As soon as you start judging stuff, it's you instantly you pull down the blinds.
Well, you're comparing it to what you've
yeah, and it's a futile exercise. It's a different generations, totally different way of looking at the world.
Oh yes.
And the world's changed, so much. I don't think people,
Well, it's changed just the last 5 years, 10 years, just incredible. But well, I suppose you are what you are, and yeah.
Yeah, anyhow, but no, I think it's important not to get into the grumpy old fart sort of thinking.
Look, it's good to do for a fun time.
I think you can mock it up.
But to do it
it's
really...
a bit of theatre.
Oh,
It lets off a bit of steam as for a bit of theatre now.
I hate all this grumpy old men
But
thing.
I can't stand it. It doesn't...
As Henry Pierce, VK3, the original VK3, and he said, this is about 1965, all this modern music, yeah, and there's no tune in it. There's no tune.
Yes, that's right. He had his Nana Muscuri and Bert Kampfert.
That's right.
Tijuana Brass.
Yes.
And what he was talking about is now the classics.
Right, yes, that's it. Isn't it funny to think in nursing homes they'll be playing the Beatles?
I know. Yeah. It's funny how everything is now 50 years old. There's all 50-year-old anniversaries for everything. And, like, it's only half 100 years. I mean, that's a long time ago, isn't it?
A bit of a sad thing's happened with Golden Days radio.
Oh, no.
Because, well, what's happened is that they used to play lovely 20s and 30s music like Steve plays.
Yes.
And I think on the board said, listen, this is not the music of 50 years ago. We didn't grow up to this.
Yeah.
And indeed they didn't. But so what they're doing now is they've become another 50s, 60s.
Oh, no, not another 60s hit station.
Largely, not entirely.
Oh, golly.
But it's so sad because it used to be a good place to be able to hear, Ray Noble and all
for
that
sure.
stuff.
It's like, even they never played music that anyone was listening was alive. Even like 10 years ago, they were playing music well before anyone was alive listening to it now.
That's right.
They were playing 20s and 30s stuff. So it wasn't really golden days, it was golden days memories.
Exactly.
Because all the old people now, it'd be the Beatles and, which they'd be playing.
That's right. And there's so much of that. There's too much of it around already.
Too much around. It's just, they've been done to death. As good as they were, that's been done to death. And it's, we need something like the 20s. It's like reinventing. It's almost new because it's old, so old no one remembers it.
That's right. Well, it's generations ago now, so it sort of has a different type of appeal.
Yeah.
But
so Golden Days, is Mr. What's his name still
Mr.
involved?
Hare's still involved.
Oh, right.
Not everyone does this. Some of the presenters have their own programs, and I think Mr. Hare actually does play stuff that's a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
There's another guy on there called Peter Lawler. He does a good mix and plays quite a bit of 40s stuff and down to 30s.
Okay.
But most of them, their standard fare is sort of 50s, 60s, even 70s.
Is anyone playing old transcription records of variety programs and stuff? Is it because on Nostalgia Unlimited that was happening for a while?
Yeah, they've got a couple of serials.
Oh, okay, right.
Why don't have they? No, yeah, they have. I think they've got one serial.
Okay.
I think they're doing Dad and Dave.
Oh, yeah.
But very little.
Okay. Yeah.
Golden Days. It's I haven't listened to it for a while, but it's just too old. I prefer to listen to something new, something really old or something new. It's radio to
something old and something new, something
borrowed, something. Now
blue.
It's interesting when you played the OTR last night. That
we were going to hear something blue last night.
And I dream of Jeannie with the blue.
Oh, I know. It's like a nursing home. Yeah.
Those sort of songs. Now I remember when I was a young kid, and it's Sunday night. You'd have your bath for the week, and you'd go up to bed. And you put your Brown's headphone on, listen to the Crystal set. And Sunday night, the only program was religious programs or that type of...
There's variety programs.
Variety programs, that sort of...
Dr. Floyd.
That sort of, baritone singing those old songs, music halls.
Evergreens.
Yeah, and it would send me, of course, you had the weekend, the next day was school, and then your weekend was ending, you weren't happy about that. You tune in for some, something bright, and all you heard was that woeful, doleful music, and it sent me into a depression mode.
Made it a lot worse, didn't it, really?
And I had this impression of my mind of this old stage in an old hall with a feeble bowl over the stage, and these people singing these doleful songs with someone just bashing away on an old piano, and someone on a violin, and it just was this depressing view I had.
This image. And you had it bestowed upon you last night. You had to hear it again.
Exactly. And look, some of those old music hall 78s, I find them appalling.
Yeah.
There's just totally.
Well, it's a time and place.
Yes.
It reflects a certain culture. Yeah. Okay. Well, we know how to push your buttons now.
Yes, I certainly don't like that.
You'll be turning the set off.
Yes, turn it to off.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So you couldn't listen to it was either that or Garner Ted Armstrong or whatever.
Oh, Garner Ted. The world should have finished by now.
He got his things a bit wrong, didn't he?
Even before Garner Ted was the son of Herbert W. Armstrong.
That's right, yes. It'd been going a long time. And then later on, the Sunday nights got a bit better. I remember, you might remember this, Frank, 3UZ at midnight, they had the show, the Dorna show with up the Collins Street corner on the. Remember that? I've got the Dorna Love Bug.
Oh yeah.
You buy your rings from.
Oh yeah.
And I used to listen to that show. That was a bright show.
Yeah. Midnight was a key time because they decided they didn't have to do Sunday anymore once it was midnight. So but 3UZ had a program called 50 and Over.
Oh, right.
And they interviewed old people.
Oh,
50 and over.
That's so young.
It is.
Old people. When I was at 2IG, that's right, Sunday night was doleful music.
It always was.
Had to play doleful music.
Or religious talking.
And you'd come in and it'd be the stacker. You couldn't just play the skyhooks or anything. You had to play all this doleful music. And Mark Bailey got he got a job there, and he came in. He was some young kid, and he sort of looked like he was up himself. He might be, I wouldn't be listening, but he could be. He's the one on reading the news on that YouTube clip of MTN 9.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Anyway, he came in, and he brought his own records, and his show started at 7 o'clock. He didn't play any of the doleful music. He was playing all the hits and all the bright stuff. And I thought, what the? He'll be sacked. He wasn't sacked.
He wasn't.
Good.
And every time he did Sunday night, he just played that.
Wow.
I don't know if he was talked to or no one cared or no one even listened. Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe people weren't listening.
And he just had a great old time playing hits and carrying on like, Grantley D.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is great. So I thought, well, who cares what you just play what you like.
Yeah.
Of course, they made no money out of Sunday night, so they assumed everyone was watching TV.
I wonder if anyone complained.
I doubt it.
Probably not. Probably no. As you say, no one was probably listening.
So he had to cross to a few religious shows, but he went in from from rock music, heavy metal to religious
community
shows.
hymn singing.
Yes.
That's what they used to have quite a bit of.
Yeah,
they used to have singing, community singing. The whole programs of people just singing together.
It's like
singing all the evergreens, all the First World War songs, all of them.
Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye.
Can you imagine if you went back look, for a day it'd be really interesting to hear what radio was like in 1930.
Yeah.
I think you'd get sick of it.
I think it would be pretty one-dimensional.
You couldn't tune to a modern station like that.
No, it would be, and it'd be very sort of static.
Oh,
Much variety.
No, I don't think it was a very exciting sort of place.
see, people's lives are so unexciting. To hear that sort of stuff on the air was exciting. Like, you know.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the standard. I think our expectations have changed.
Can you imagine?
They'd have been playing 30s music, which wouldn't have been too bad.
No. But imagine in 1920, they'd have those radio concerts from someone's home with someone singing that ballads on a piano and someone screeching violin through a carbon microphone through a distorted emitters, and that they would have thought that was fantastic.
They would have thought it was something amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was in its time.
But even in the 20s, the few transcriptions of 20s programs that they're around, you hear these dance bands, which we sort of know for their syncopated progressive pieces, but that was a small part of the program. They mainly played sort of waltzes and standard. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of sort of middle of the road material as well.
Yeah, a lot of schmaltzy sort of
exactly.
stuff.
So it wasn't. We just sort of cream off the heavy metal.
Well, it was heavy metal of the day, wasn't it? Yeah,
the progressive material.
Now it's interesting. The storms are finished, and the reception's much better.
Yes.
None of that crackling distortion.
Yeah, it's interesting.
No,
isn't it?
that's great.
I think it was just maybe it had electricity in the air or something.
Very possibly.
Because you're fine now. You were terrible there a while back there, Frank, and crackling and distorted.
Yeah, that's strange.
And now it's fine.
I haven't altered anything.
No, we'll have to go back and talk it all again.
We'll start again. Get the hi-fi lines going.
That's right.
Maybe it was some rain static causing problems. Who knows?
Could be.
And I've noticed the voltage is down. We're down to quite a bit of lower power than normal.
That's interesting.
Everyone's got their heater on. But back in the time, I mean, listening to that, it would have been so, and TV programs the same. I mean, they'll laugh to look at, but would you want to look at them again when you had no alternative except to watch Lucille Ball and all this crap?
Yes.
I mean,
it would be very. I think the allure would wear off very quickly.
Yeah, Mr. Ed, my favourite Martian. I mean, you look at them; they still have them on at midnight or after, and you think this is just crap.
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Mr. Ed with his electrode in his mouth.
Oh, yes.
Mr. Ed, yes.
And my mother, the car. And the radio used to talk to him. It'd flash.
Okay.
How you build a thing around a car is a reincarnated mother of the sky. I mean, really.
There's something horrible and Freudian about that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Doesn't bear going into too deeply, does it?
No, thank you. Yeah, some of these programs are... Addams Family, Monsters...
Yeah. They weren't too bad.
I like the Addams Family to be.
Yeah, they were quite good.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the Addams Family.
I think they were very cleverly scripted.
Yes, they were. They were quite smart. And, look, they were fun things to watch, but I suppose people just have nothing else to do. And they'd watch that and then listen to Graham Kennedy and... everyone just have the same worldview.
Even his programs, they don't. I like Graham Kennedy. I like his. I think he's a unique character.
He was.
But seeing some of those Melbourne Tonight programs, whatever it was called, they wear a bit thin.
Look, he did it 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
I mean, we get the highlights, the really funny bits, which they've kept. But you see, there are a few reels of the full shows. There's not many highlights in them.
That's it. I've seen a few things on YouTube, and they don't. It doesn't. The pace just doesn't seem to work.
There's no pace.
The way that they got away with it was that we were just so excited to have live television.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Anything was exciting.
And they'll think, that this era is going to be so boring in 100 years.
That's right. It's all relative.
They'll be just zipping across to different planets.
That's right. They used to have reality TV.
Oh God, that's one of the lowest points in
I think so.
Entertainment.
Yeah, see, this is what the young people do. They're all into reality TV, you know.
Oh, God.
But aren't they into ASMR?
That's it.
See, this could be, I'm sure there's people listening to this, it's like ASMR to them listening to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Now,
They're being tantalised.
yeah, it's...
That's what compressors do. There's an ASMR aspect to using the Automaxes and
right.
Heavy compression.
Now, who was that ASMR doctor? Who was it that you were talking about?
Steve's going to play her next Friday.
You better. I'll have to look at it first. I might.
Why don't you take a chance?
Well, it
Go on
could be very
YouTube.
contentious.
What was it?
I might lose my job.
Who was the
We don't
doctor?
want that.
Some kid. Have a look. Dr. Hastings.
Okay.
ASMR. And some young woman looks like she's in a certain state
Dr.
of
Hastings
preparedness.
ASMR. Oh, let's have a look.
I might be wrong. That's just just had a...
Oh, the physical examinations here. Oh, I see, Dr. Hastings. Ear exam, ear clean. Physical exam.
Started.
Yeah.
Oh, full body.
It sounds like there's a bit of doctors and nurses in some of these.
I think so.
Full body muscle relaxation with Dr. Hastings.
Yes. I don't think we need to think too much about what that might mean.
Student Dr. Hastings cares for you. Cranial nerve examination. Dr. Hastings stress clinic with love today.
You'll have to play this after midnight.
Yeah, I think this is after midnight material.
Well,
Each chapter it gets lower and lower down.
Yes.
well, we'll look at this cranial nerve examination. It might be important.
Oh,
She's tapping her ear.
she's cleaning out the earwax.
Yeah, big on the earwax.
Is it on the ear, over the ear, in the ear? In the earbuds. Sometimes not so good. Okay. So, have you been out of the country recently? And did you get your vaccinations this year? There's a new one. Yeah. I would recommend going to get that.
Yeah. Well,
now, does your family have any history?
As she moves down the body.
She will move down gradually.
Oh, let's see.
Yes, I think.
Whisper ASMRs.
ASMRs.
Good afternoon.
Up close and personal.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Stand for.
What does it?
I'll have to look it up. It's
Autumn, some really.
yeah, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
ASMR. It's sort of. Let me find it.
I hadn't heard of it, actually.
Oh.
ASMR. All kids are into it. Really into it.
Yes, so you were saying.
Autonomous sensory meridian response.
Oh, wow.
Some people get a really like a tingling high sensation listening to these quiet whispering talking.
Oh, okay.
See, I could.
Yes, it creates a sort of a euphoria. And
that's right.
It says there's an experience characterised by static-like or tingling sensations on the skin that typically begin on the scalp and move down the back of the neck and upper spine, probably the lower spine as well. It's been compared to. Compared to other sensations. And ASMR signifies the subjective experience of low-grade euphoria.
Oh, wow.
Characterised by a combination of positive feelings and distinct static-like tingling sensation on the skin.
Here's some of the comments. I got tingles when she said I was a millionaire. No wonder I'm stressed. I just found out I have a multi-million-dollar business to run. Thank you so much for collaborating with me. You're a most humble person. You are beautiful and kind. Thank you very much for the opportunity to get to know you. You have very profound canines. Wow, you're amazing at hand gestures. The middle was so soothing and all had me up in arms of sleep, so thank you.
So this is the way the world's going.
Yes.
It's all very. I think people crave intimacy, and I think
they do, Steve, and that's very telling comment, because they're depriving themselves when they socialise via computers.
Absolutely. So this is an antidote to that, I think.
I think you're right. That's very, very,
and I think
wise.
I think this is what's happening. And of course, but there's blurry edges between intimacy and other experiences. And I think so. This whole thing has got sort of a cloud over it in a way.
It's very interesting. It's a whole new field.
Yeah, look, it's massive. It's bigger than Texas. If you look up ASMR online, even the Wikipedia page is about 20 pages long.
Oh, wow. I have to...
It's massive. Start with the Wikipedia page. It's 10,000 words.
I'll do it.
All these videos of Dr. Hastings, like millions of hits.
Wow.
I think I should start one. Dr. Dave.
No,
I'm not the right sex.
You need it's usually characterised by a female voice.
Yes.
And incredibly sort of intimate and very closely mic'd, and all the syllables are over-pronounced, and it's... but I might go into the business of selling those old telephone connecting machines.
Yeah.
Because they work for... I've set one up downstairs, Frank, that my daughter makes ASMR. Well, she's experimenting with it.
Right, okay.
Because those old telephone connectors, have got that horrible peaky audio.
Yeah, they certainly do.
With compression.
Just right for that, to create the right intimate atmosphere.
Well, it just creates that sort of intense,
closeness. Yes, I know what you're getting to.
And so they always speak in whispers, and it's sort of like it's incredibly up close and personal. It's pillow talk.
Yeah.
It's most interesting.
It is. It is interesting. It's really interesting, because it's obviously, whether or not it's like a meme that people respond because you're supposed to respond, which wouldn't surprise me. It could be a mass placebo thing.
Yeah, that is sort of.
But I think a lot of it's the fact that people just crave closeness. They don't have that sort of interaction in their lives. So
this is as close as they're going to get to it.
Yes. It says Virginia Woolf's novel Mrs. Dalloway contains a passage describing something that may be comparable to ASMR. So there's all this sort of reference to
earlier times.
To earlier times and things as well. But it's a binaural recording features strongly.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah, and it's all about that sort of. But it's sort of hyper reality.
Well, it's natural that binaural would work, because it's of its nature it is more realistic.
Yes, it's hyper real.
Hyper real. Thank you. Yes. Binaural would suit that.
It would, very much so. And what you just capture normal environmental sounds, then you just boost the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Put lots of compression on, and it just sounds like it's sort of in your head.
That's it.
In your ear, cleaning your ear.
That's right.
My kids are really into eating, like they sit and watch these videos of people chewing food.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really, it's quite... I find it really quite bizarre.
Yeah.
And just preparing and eating food.
Yeah, okay.
And cooking with the mic really close up to the food being cooked.
Yeah.
So there's a strong... there's many branches of ASMR. And,
sure.
And, of course, there's a whole industry related to what we've been sort of alluding to as well.
Yeah.
And, but some of it's about whispering and talking, and other stuff's about just sounds of eating and food and mundane.
Other bodily function.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
It's got a calming effect. And I didn't know anything about it. I was driving a couple of years ago, and I was listening to Radio National, and they had a program about it. Oh,
yeah.
What is this?
Well, I've been living under a rock. I had no idea.
See, this is it. You can't know everything.
No, that's right. That's right. I'm working on it, but got a little way to go.
Yeah, but there's just so much to learn.
So little time.
So little time.
There he is.
Talking about the time,
Oh no, it's so late. We just got things working properly too.
That's a very good segue. It was,
Yes, I suppose that's it. I've got to get up and do the football run.
Yeah.
brace yourself.
Well, I'll take another listen. That no one's up on Talky, so we've look. It's probably quite opportune because the logging tape's about to finish and the file's about to fill up, and
yes, we're all filled up now.
So for the next 2 weeks, there won't be any live missions. You have to listen to replays. It'll be on AM on 160 as well because we haven't got. Well, it's a bit hard to have FM on remote because it's not built yet.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, and look, I think a lot of the weather, I think, was a main part of all that problem. It's just too much, it's just bad air, bad stuff.
Wow. Yeah, well, it's certainly been a pretty average conditions.
Yeah, that's right.
To say the least. Yeah, very squally. Well, look, have a great trip. Hope it all goes well.
Yeah.
And we'll listen out for you on the on 80 metres at different times.
Yeah, well, I'll send you a texticle on the phonicle.
Yep.
And if or you can send me a text or something. It doesn't matter. I may or may not be in range.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll give it a go to see what happens, and we'll just listen out for you if you are. And I might I might just do a combination of AM and FM at different times to see what happens. But yep, it sounds good. All right.
Okay. Well, cheers, Frank. It's been good talking to you.
Cheers, likewise, Dave.
And it's now settled down. It's just sounding. I don't think anyone's. It's just a problem with the atmosphere.
I think so.
To do with the weather. Yep. Okay. Have a good trip.
Okay.
Yes, all the best, Frank.
And you, Dave.
Yep.
And we'll keep in touch, Frank, and we might test out UHF a bit later.
Do you want it nominated night? Or?
Look, possibly Thursday night, maybe.
Suits me.
Yeah, okay. I don't think there's anything on Thursday, but I'll send you a text and confirm it.
Okay, that's fine.
And, or an email or something.
Possibly around about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I think so. That's an easy time. Yeah.
Anyway, confirm it with a text.
Yeah, we'll do. That sounds good. All right, then. You have a good week. Yeah, all the best there, Frank.
And you. VK3JR is signing Carl off.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, Carl off. I think I'll do the Carl off thing as well.
Okay.
So, thanks, Dave.
Right.
Dave.
It's good to chat. And we'll see you anon. So VK3SL taking leave as well.
Hey, morning.
Morning, and
Cheerio.
we'll put people to sleep with some ASMR, I think.
Hello? Come in. Hi there.